Welcome to Living the Smarter Science is Slim, where we provide a scientifically proven lifestyle for long-term health and fat loss by eating more and exercising less, but smarter.
Eat smarter, exercise smarter, live better. I am so ready for that. Hi everyone, this is Carrie Brown and Jonathan Bailor.
Whoop whoop!
Hi Jonathan.
I don't know what I just did, but hello, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, how are you? You're clearly in a feisty old mood today.
Apparently I am in a mood, let's just say that. So yeah, it's been a good week. It's been a good week.
Unfortunately, you are not wearing your t-shirt that warrants a photograph.
No,
darn it.
Nothing to speak of here other than sanity and eccentricity.
And we love both of those things.
We love both of those things, and we're going to continue on our eccentric FAQ. I just said that E so hard that my neck muscle like spasmed a little bit.
It did.
Jesus.
I concur.
I have a sore neck. I just eccentrically exercised my neck. I'm trying to get one of those big necks that you see like on linebackers. It's like big neck, no neck. False. Don't want that.
What are we talking about?
What, you don't like my neck commentary?
No. Let's move on.
Let's start
no
with
more neck.
FAQ question here. It has to do with personal trainers. And specifically just some folks have wondered what my thoughts are on personal trainers for a couple things. One, a couple angles to this question, and it's a great question. I'm very pleased to have the opportunity to answer it because I think folks might think that I think something different than I actually think. What do you think about that, Carrie?
If anybody understands how your brain works, Jonathan, it will be a miracle. That's what I think. Not that you're at all complex.
No, very simple. Slim is simple, as we talked about previously. So the question, there's a couple ways the question is phrased to me. One is, Jonathan, are you trying to put personal trainers out of business? Because you're saying, you need to do these 5 exercises, that's it. So you're trying to put all these people out of business, or like, what is the point of a trainer? Another question is, I mean, that's actually kind of it, is what do you think about that? So a couple things here. So no, not trying to put personal trainers out of business. So what a lot of people find, so I was a personal trainer. That's what I did before the Smarter Science is Slim. And personally, I see the number one role of a trainer is to be like a coach and someone that holds you accountable and someone that motivates you. I see a personal trainer almost a bit more as a life coach. And I think good personal trainers are I mean, almost like a therapist in some ways, right? Like there's someone that you are accountable to and that helps you to be the best version of yourself that you can be.
There is absolutely nothing like a bit of accountability.
Right. So, I mean, should you use a personal trainer? Anything you can do to help you live your best life, you should do. Right. The only thing, so that's yes. Another thing that trainers are great for is they're great to make sure that you're doing these exercises properly. In fact, what I tell, this is actually, so here, Jonathan Bailor going on the record, I think everyone should do the following, and this is going to be great for the personal training community. Before you start exercising eccentrically, so there's 5 exercises we talk about doing. Let's talk about the gym ones and the home ones. So the gym ones, we talk about an eccentric leg press, we talk about an eccentric pull-up, we talk about eccentric chest press, we talk about eccentric shoulder press. So that's really 4 exercises, excuse me. And then at home, it's the same thing except just with body weight. So eccentric assisted squats, eccentric assisted pull-ups, eccentric assisted push-ups, and eccentric assisted shoulder press. Working with a trainer to ensure you've got proper form on those things is a fantastic idea, and everyone should do it. And everyone can do it. Well, everyone who has a gym membership can, because most gyms, at least every gym I've ever been to, will give you 1 free personal training session, because it gives the personal trainer an opportunity to introduce themselves, to kind of explain to you what they do, but they will give you their service for free for generally an hour. So if you went to them and you said, hey, read this book, listen to this podcast, I would like to do these exercises, but I'd like to make sure I'm doing them correctly, the trainer will, free of charge, show you what to do with the hopes of garnering your business in the future. So that's great. The thing to, I would say, be careful of, and there's things to be careful of with anything in life, it's not unique to trainers, is that, so there are trainers that want to help you. There's also trainers, just like there's car salespeople that genuinely want to sell you a car that's going to make you happy and keep you safe. And then there's other car salespeople who just want to sell you a car and don't care about it. The thing that I would recommend watching out for with trainers is that sometimes Trainers will overcomplicate exercise to keep themselves in business. Now, if you want to be an elite athlete and you're looking to shave 1 second off your sprint time or add 1 more pound to your bench press, or a trainer is beautiful because they're going to help you squeeze every last ounce of physical performance out of your body. But I feel like for a lot of our listeners, our goal isn't to squeeze every last ounce of physical performance out of our body. It's just to practically and permanently be really happy with the way we feel and really happy with the way we look. And that's really easy. And I think the role of a trainer in a sane and eccentric lifestyle is one of accountability, one of coaching, and one of almost friendship. Because folks, really, if your goal is the goals we're talking about here on this podcast, exercise really is simple. And I would highly encourage you to be cautious of anyone who tries to tell you otherwise, because if they're putting you on these balance balls and using these ropes and that's just all it's really not necessary. Plenty of people achieved plenty of great results before any of those things existed.
A lot of those things also, not that I've been in a gym for 20 years, but the likelihood or the opportunity for you to damage yourself using them is huge.
Yes. So be careful not to let anyone overcomplicate exercise for you, because it's also the same thing with nutrition. With fitness has really, so let's pop way out. The point of exercise, there's 2 points from a science perspective when it comes to metabolic health. One is just general health and well-being. And we've talked about things like just being active. So walking around, taking the stairs, being active. This is great. Like the body was meant to move. It needs to move. If you never move around, you turn into the characters from the movie WALL-E, where they can't even stand up because their bones have deteriorated, right? So we want to stay active. And then when we talk about more intense and safe forms of exercise, all we are trying to do is take as much of our muscle as possible and get it to contract. That's it. Like all of this other stuff is just more ways to do that, but they're just not necessary.
Well, I think it depends. You've got to figure out why you're doing something. If you're jogging to lose weight, it's never going to work. If you're jogging because you jog with a girlfriend and that's your bonding time, fabulous. But if you think that that's helping you to lose weight, you're mistaken.
Absolutely.
So I think you have to figure out why it is you're doing whatever activity it is, and make sure that you're actually getting the result that you're trying to get.
And let's be very clear here, folks. There's exercise physiology. I am never claiming to be the expert in that arena. I mean, when we talk about exercise physiology, I'm talking about people like physical therapists, people who can take a body that's been broken and they can teach it how to move again. I mean, there are brilliant, brilliant people in this field. And if you have an injury or if you have a pre-existing condition, those are great reasons to work with a qualified trainer or physical therapist. And those are very specific circumstances, and those people can help you. And if you have very specific goals, like a specific sport or a specific movement, working with experts is a brilliant thing to do. But let's remember that our goal here is very general and is very simple. And just like eating is very simple when our goal is just lifelong health and wellness, because it has to be, because people were healthy and well long before anyone knew what a calorie was, let alone counted them. And people were healthy and well long before gyms existed, let alone hung from balanced ropes on a ball with one leg in the air while your trainer makes you slam a ball against the wall or something like that. Like you don't need that. You don't need that. So let's keep it simple, let's keep it safe, but let's keep ourselves accountable. And if your trainer helps you to do that without making you feel like exercise is complicated, which good trainers will. Good trainers, people that are exercise physiologists, they know this. They're not the people propagating these trends and gimmicks. But let's not let the few, the minority who are doing that, dissuade an entire industry, because the personal training, physical therapist, exercise physiology industry is brilliant and does a lot of good for a lot of people. Let's just make sure we go in with our eyes wide open.
Good advice.
Make sense?
I will probably never go to the gym, but that's okay.
And just one other thing to keep in mind in terms of buyer beware. Understand that someone can call themselves a personal trainer after taking a 2-week course on the internet. Right? It's like, I don't know if you've, like when I got married, you can become an ordained minister pretty easily. So you also want to do a little bit of background on if the person is like what kind of a trainer they are, right? So just keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. So speaking of exercise and trainers and things to be cautious about, something that is very popular now are, let's call them extreme exercise programs. These DVD sets you see advertised on TV that are just like, oh my, look how intense and insane this is, and it's just an extreme workout. People have said, Jonathan, is that smarter exercise because it's more intense? Carrie, what do you think?
I think I don't have a TV, and I'm really happy about that.
Because you're not seeing these.
So I have no idea what you're talking about, but I can imagine.
Awesome infomercials. So these come up at least once every 5 years. It's plyometrics, which is just explosive movements. It's nothing new. And the thing to keep in mind about these things is you see all these ads about how effective they are. A couple things to keep in mind. One, if you do anything that's going to elevate your heart rate extensively for 50 minutes a day, 6 days a week, which is what most of these programs advocate, your body will change. The question is if that's healthy and sustainable, and if you will hurt yourself doing it, or if you even can do it in the first place. If you're someone like me who has pre-existing injuries, I have a busted knee and a busted shoulder, or you're not in great shape already, or you're a little bit older, it's just immediately off the table. So what I would say is, instead of making some global proclamation about this is good and this is bad, I would advise you to consider 3 things before you consider any exercise program. And that's safety, sustainability, and resistance. SSR. Sir.
Always an acronym.
And let's step through those one by one. So safety. When you're deciding whether or not to engage in an exercise program, you got to ask, is it safe? And you got to ask this before you think about anything else, because if it's not safe, run in the other direction. Because breaking your body's ability to move, aka hurting yourself.
Yeah, it's not good.
No, I mean, that's
insane.
We're trying to be healthy here,
right,
not to hurt ourselves.
Right.
So if there is any unnecessary risk involved, so back to the trainer argument, like if they're asking you to stand on something that is difficult to stand on while you do bicep curls, you have to ask yourself, why? That's going to enable me to do less weight while I do bicep curls. It also has a high risk of me falling over. Does it help me with my balance? Who cares?
So what?
Yeah, I mean, like, how often do you need
nice.
to stand on one leg during the course of the day? It doesn't. Sure, it helps you. I mean, and rubbing a eraser back and forth on your hand will help you build a callus up. But why do you want a callus on your hand? It doesn't. It's not a relevant thing. So it's got to be safe, and that's why we love eccentric training. That's why we love smarter interval training, because it's extremely safe.
We love that.
Make sense?
It makes sense.
Okay.
As I always say, be good. If you can't be good, be careful.
Be careful, exactly. So sustainable. This is similar to safety, but it's not actually the same, because we want to do whatever, we've talked about this before, whatever we do to make our body healthy and fit, we have to keep doing, or we won't be healthy and fit anymore.
Right.
Just like if you push the accelerator on your car to go 60 miles an hour on the freeway, and then you take your foot off the accelerator, we shouldn't be surprised when the car decelerates.
Right.
So whatever we're doing, and this, again, it seems obvious, but it's common sense, but it's not common practice, because any diet or exercise program that's like, do this for X days, or you're doing it and you're like, oh my God, this is so terrible. I can't imagine doing this. Like, stop. That's not, because you're going to stop. Whether you stop today, or you stop in 2 weeks, or you stop in 2 months, you're going to stop. And in 2 years, it's not going to matter that you did it.
Right.
So it has to be something sustainable. And that's another reason why I love exercising smarter, because one eccentric workout a week, and for some of us, that's all we need. For some of us, we add in smarter interval training. And of course, we stay active. We take the stairs. We walk around. That is amazingly sustainable. And in fact, a lot of people think it's enjoyable.
Wow. Exercise enjoyable?
But it is important to keep that in mind, because right, we're told do this for 12 weeks, do this, it's extreme, blah. If it's not sustainable, it will not deliver sustainable results by definition. Therefore, why waste your time with it?
Yeah, and then you'll probably end up in a worse position than you were when you started. And then you'll be sad.
Exactly.
We don't want that.
So we talked about safety, we talked about sustainability, and finally we have to talk about resistance. Because resistance really is the key to the results the exercise generates for us. We've talked about this a lot, but I'll briefly recap. The amount of resistance we use determines the amount and type of muscle fibers we activate. And we know that the more muscle fibers we activate and the quote-unquote deeper those fibers are, the more of a clog clearing or hormonally healing response that triggers in our body, aka the healthier and slimmer we become. So if we're going to do an exercise, we have to do an exercise, or let's put it this way, we would be best served doing an exercise that allows us to easily add resistance. Now, that's not the case for a lot of movements. For example, running. There is not a safe way to increase resistance while running. You could strap weights to your back or to your ankles, but that increases the force on your joints. That increases impact, so you can't do that. If you want to do like an aerobics class, you could do a longer aerobics class, or you could do aerobics classes more frequently, but that's not going to work more muscle fibers. That's just going to work the same muscle fibers over and over and over again. And this is why we love resistance training, and this is why we love cardiovascular machines that allow us to increase resistance, because we can just safely and easily increase the resistance. We don't have to do it more frequently. We don't have to do it for longer periods of time. We can just increase the resistance. So before you pick any exercise program, I don't care how intense it says it is, if there's no way for you to, let's say, infinitely increase the resistance as you get stronger in a safe way, like you can't just keep sprinting faster and faster and faster, that tops out. And you can't, once you exercise 7 days a week, I mean, I guess you could exercise twice a day, but that's just silly. Why not just pick a form of exercise that will infinitely allow you to use more resistance and therefore to get better and better and better? That's what I say.
That sounds so sensible.
So it's safe, it's sustainable, and it allows us to add resistance, quote unquote, infinitely and safely. So getting back to the question, since everyone is different, when people ask me about any exercise program, especially these infomercial type extreme programs, I say, ask yourself 3 questions. How likely am I to get hurt doing this? Will I be able to do this consistently for the rest of my life? And can I increase resistance without increasing risk? If you answer no, like you are likely to get hurt, you can't do this forever, or you can't really add resistance without increasing risk,
don't do it.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Keep it simple. Stay eccentric and get smarter with your interval training. Easy enough?
I am a big fan of short and simple and easy. Especially if it gives me the killer body.
And the killer feeling.
And the killer feeling.
So the next question, this is a little bit of a random one, and it's a little bit dated, but it does come up. And I don't know if listeners remember this, but maybe 2 years back at this point, there was a story in the news about a professor who wanted to, quote unquote, prove that weight is just all about calories in and calories out, conscious regulation of calories in, calories out. Let me rephrase that. So he went on a, quote unquote, Twinkie diet and lost 27 pounds and said, like, look, all I'm going to do is eat junk food, but I'm going to eat, I don't know, like 1,400 calories of it. And look, I'll lose weight. And doesn't this prove that
it's calorie math? That
it's just conscious regulation of calories. So the thing that I actually love about this story is it shows how twisted this whole conversation has gotten, right? It's as if, I mean, can eating 1,200 calories of Twinkies cause you to lose weight? Well, sure, of course it can. You can just stop eating food entirely and you're going to lose weight. You can chop off your leg and you're going to lose weight. The question is, are you doing something that's enjoyable? Are you doing something that is going to help you live a long and happy life? And is it something that is going to achieve the long-term results you want? Yes, this professor for 12 weeks, or however long it was, did this and lost 27 pounds. but he felt like crap. And he called it an experiment because it was. It was an experiment. So
he didn't expect to be able to or to want to do it forever. He just did it for a period of time.
And if you stop eating, you will lose weight. Just like if you pour gasoline on your garden, no weeds will grow, but you're destroying everything else. So again, the question is not, and again, folks, I think we all know this because hopefully you've listened to a couple of our podcasts and maybe checked out the book. The goal of the Smarter Science to Slim is very clearly not weight loss. And I actually don't think that's our goal if we look a level deeper. Our goal is to long-term be happy with the way we feel and be happy with the way we look. And just to be happy in general. And counting calories does not facilitate that.
You mean you don't love counting calories, Jonathan?
And if exercise, and if a lot of exercise facilitates that for you, that's fine. Go ahead and do it. But let's just remember, like our goal, an individual that I work with, who a very, very smart woman, says that weight loss is not an end. It's a means. It's something we want that because we actually want what we think it will result in, which is a positive feeling about ourselves. And we can achieve that positive feeling in much healthier and much more sustainable ways. So when you see these things like, can you eat 1,200 calories of Twinkies and lose weight? Yeah, sure. It's just irrelevant. Like, yeah, you can, but why? Why would you? Who cares? Right? I mean, it's just, I don't get it. Maybe I'm missing something. I don't know.
No, I was just thinking that what your colleague said reminded me of that's just the best new reason to throw away your scale, because it's about being happy. And when you get to that place where you're happy with how you feel and how you look, the numbers don't matter. Mm-hmm. The weight doesn't matter. And comparing yourself to someone else who may wear a dress size 2 sizes smaller, it doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. If you're happy with how you feel and how you look, that's all that matters.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, and that's the one area that I'll dig into there as well, is there's some things that are, being comfortable with the way you feel and the way you look. This is something that is to each their own. But specifically in regards to this Twinkie experiment, there are some things which we can look at with some objective certainty. For example, having a certain size waist circumference is predictive of some bad news down the road, and having a certain level of HDL cholesterol to triglycerides is unhealthy. And there are things we could do to lose weight which are going to compromise all those other things. So like health can be judged pretty objectively. So let's have a strategy that enables us to feel great about ourselves while also honoring our body and delivering results which are pretty objective. And that's why we just got to watch out for these gimmicky, temporary weight loss things, because they don't help us achieve those aesthetic goals in the long term, and they actually actively hurt those much more demonstrable scientific health goals that really, in the grand scheme of things, like when you're 85, you ain't gonna care how you look. You're gonna care how you feel. So let's make sure we set ourselves up for success.
But the irony is, if you focus on health, by default, you're gonna get everything else.
Exactly.
If you aim for the health, your body will, over time, as Jonathan's always told us, it will regulate the calories and the weight and the fat and all those other things, and it will do it organically, naturally. It'll do it on your own. So if we focus on health, everything else will come.
And that's not, it might be very easy if you play this podcast for someone who's unfamiliar with the science to think that what Carrie just said is this like woo-woo, like, oh, your body will mystically take care of everything. And nothing could be further from the truth. Let me give you a concrete example. We all understand that our blood sugar is regulated by our body. Like if you're at all familiar with nutritional science, you're familiar with blood sugar and you're familiar with insulin, and how when you eat food, your blood sugar goes up, your body releases insulin, and it releases insulin so that the blood sugar levels go down. And that's automatically regulated. Nobody who is not diabetic is like, oh my God, what are my insulin levels like? What are my blood sugar levels like? I need to balance them out. Because a healthy body automatically regulates blood sugar levels. A healthy body also automatically regulates blood pressure levels. It also automatically regulates sodium levels and potassium levels and all these other things that we don't think about for a second. And it also automatically regulates body composition. However, if we break our body, it starts to regulate our body composition around a different point. Just like a diabetic is regulating their blood sugar, it's just regulating it around too high of a level, a toxic level. And that's why someone with hypertension, their body is still automatically regulating their blood pressure just at an unhealthy level. So the body always works to achieve homeostasis, and we all get this. And we all know that diabetes doesn't disprove that blood sugar is automatically regulated any more than obesity disproves that body weight is automatically regulated. All those conditions prove is that if we have an unhealthy body, things that normally would be regulated around healthy set points are regulated around unhealthy set points. And to Carrie's point, if you heal your body, it will automatically regulate you around healthy points. It's not woo-woo. It's actually as scientific as it gets. If you want to learn more about it, go to a site called PubMed and type in homeostatic regulation of weight. You will find hundreds of journal articles on this very interesting subject. So it's not woo-woo, and it's actually very, very exciting.
And it's true.
And it's true.
It's all true. Focus on the health and everything else will come. Yay.
The one question, though, that I think remains, Carrie, is that people say, well, I'm healthy, and this will be the last FAQ for this week's podcast, because I think it's a good one to end on. I think it ties some things up. Is that if my body's automatically working to regulate me and keep me healthy, what's the deal with getting older? Because it seems like it's harder and harder and harder to, let's say, keep fat off our body as we get older. And if our body's automatically regulating us, why is that happening? Well, a couple things. Carrie's looking at me as if like, yeah, that's a good question. Why does that? Why does that happen? Damn it. So a couple things, right? We talked about the set point is fundamentally a condition of two things, our genetics and our hormones. So as we age, our hormones change, right? Humans in their natural state, like our genome is programmed. We're living a lot longer than our genes are used to living. Let's put it that way. So over time, as we get older, our hormone levels change. And as our hormone levels change, our bodies change. So, and it's only because of, let's call it social pressures. I mean, a female who weighs X amount of weight is not quote unquote heavy or slim outside of what society says she is, right? So saying that, well, it's harder to be slim as you get older, well, the body changes as we get older. So what is slim for a 50-year-old, I actually think is not the same as what's slim for a 25-year-old. You've got two different people here with two different levels of hormones, and therefore their body's regulating them around different set points. If you want to get really geeky, fat or adipose tissue is actually an immune organ in the body. So there's scientific thought in the fact that as we get older, our body naturally starts to store more fat to protect us from disease as the rest of our body begins to break down. So the key point here, again, just like getting older sometimes causes blood pressure to regulate around a higher set point, or blood sugar to regulate around a higher set point, or body composition to regulate around a higher set point. These are functions of hormonal changes in our body, which are not inevitable and which we can most dramatically and easily control by changing the quality of our food and the quality of our exercise. So it's nothing to fear. It's just something to be aware of, that our hormones change as we age, and therefore we need to change our diet and exercise quality as we age to stay at the level of fitness and health that we want to.
And it's hugely, having been on the dark side, as a lot of I know our listeners have, particularly the girls, with all these hormones that we have to deal with, it's just, to me, it's so exciting to know that we do actually we can control them. Mm-hmm. We can control them.
And it is, let's be very clear, right? A male who's 80 years old will never naturally have the same level of testosterone in his body as he did when he was 18. It's just not going to happen naturally. And that's okay. And that's okay. That's just like we're not immortal, right? We're not immortal. But we can do and leverage the best science has to offer to be the best us that we can be for wherever we are at our age. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So, and just like we don't dress the same as we did when we were 18, things change over time, and that's all good. Well, hopefully that was helpful, folks. It's been a blast as always Carrie Brown, Jonathan Bailor. We're eating more, we're exercising less, but we're doing it smarter. Have a good week. See you soon. Wait, don't stop listening yet. If you like the podcast and if there's other ways we can help you, please join us in the Smarter Science of Slim support group, which is freely available at the Smarter Science of Slim website, smarterscienceofslim.com. There you'll find all kinds of free recipes and success stories and just all kinds of fun stuff, like how to help your kids go sane and just great community content.
And just one last thing before you go, if you wouldn't mind heading over to iTunes and up onto Amazon.com and leaving us a review, and then going over to Facebook and liking us, we would hugely appreciate it.